Good morning, friends, and welcome back to Trans India. Real people, real emotions. In our episode today, we will be talking to a third generation transporter, and at the same time, we will be taking a look at commercial vehicle sales in the month of October as well as the 42-day festive period. लेकिन दोस्तों, उसके पहले हम आपको दिखाना चाहेंगे एक बहुत ही दुखद घटना जो एक ट्रक ड्राइवर के साथ हुई। हम अक्सर कहते हैं कि रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट इंडस्ट्री में ट्रक ड्राइवर्स की शॉर्टेज है और इसका कारण कुछ हद तक ये भी है कि ट्रक ड्राइवर्स की इज्जत नहीं है, उनके वर्किंग टाइमिंग्स नहीं है, वो अपने परिवार से दूर रहते हैं। लेकिन साथ ही साथ एक कारण ये भी है कि ट्रक ड्राइवर्स को हाईवेज पर पीटा जाता है, गाली गलौज देकर उनसे बात किया जाता है। और दोस्तों, ये सब वो शख्स के साथ होता है जो आपके घर तक आपका खाना पहुंचाता है, हर इंडस्ट्री, हर फैक्ट्री में रॉ मटेरियल्स पहुंचाता है और साथ ही साथ फिनिश्ड गुड्स मार्केट्स तक पहुंचाता है। एक तरीके से एक ट्रक ड्राइवर देश के इकोनॉमी का एक बहुत अहम हिस्सा है, लेकिन साथ ही साथ एक बहुत निगलेक्टेड हिस्सा भी। ये एक छोटा सा वीडियो क्लिप देखिए जहां पर एक ट्रक ड्राइवर को कैसे पीटा गया।
नहीं यार, मानना नहीं चाहिए, मानना नहीं चाहिए। तुमने मारना गलत बात है भैया, मारना गलत बात है। देखो
दोस्तों, ये घटना हुई छत्तीसगढ़ के छिलपी घाटा चेकपोस्ट में जो कबीर धाम डिस्ट्रिक्ट में आता है। इस ट्रक ड्राइवर से गाड़ी के पेपर मांगे गए जो इस ड्राइवर ने ऑफिशियल्स को दिखाए। सारे पेपर सही होने के बावजूद भी ड्राइवर से पैसे मांगे गए और जब ड्राइवर ने मना किया पैसे देने से तो उसका ये हश्र हुआ। दोस्तों, क्या कारण है कि ट्रक ड्राइवर्स को इस तरह ट्रीट किया जाता है, वो भी महज 200, 300 या 500 रुपए के लिए। एक ट्रक ड्राइवर की ज़िंदगी या उसके सेल्फ रिस्पेक्ट को कुचल दिया जाता है। हम क्लियरली देख सकते हैं कि ट्रक ड्राइवर के आंखों के नीचे चोट लगी है और खून बह रहा है। अगर वो लाठी जिससे ट्रक ड्राइवर को मारा गया वो 1 इंच ऊपर होती तो आज शायद उस ट्रक ड्राइवर की आंखें नहीं होती। हम पूछना चाहेंगे भारत सरकार से कि किसने अधिकार दिया है या किसने परमिशन दिया है उनको ट्रक ड्राइवर्स को फिजिकली अटैक करने का। ऐसा क्यों है कि ट्रक ड्राइवर्स को एक इंसान की तरह भी ट्रीट नहीं किया जाता है। हम दरख्वास्त करेंगे छत्तीसगढ़ गवर्नमेंट और साथ ही साथ मिनिस्ट्री ऑफ रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट एंड हाईवे से कि इस मुद्दे को बहुत सीरियसली टेकअप करे। जिस ऑफिशियल ने ट्रक ड्राइवर को पीटा है उसके खिलाफ कंप्लेन दर्ज किया जाना चाहिए और उसे इमीडिएटली अरेस्ट किया जाना चाहिए। एंड वी वंस अगेन आस्क दिस वेरी इंपॉर्टेंट क्वेश्चन, व्हेन विल द ट्रक ड्राइवर्स इन द कंट्री be given their due respect? When will the truck drivers be treated like human beings? It is high time that the government at the center and the states take this issue very seriously, because if the shortage of drivers goes beyond a certain level, the entire supply chain will be disrupted. Well friends, coming back to our episode, needless to say that the road transport business is a very tough business. Even though information technology and infrastructure has made this business kind of simpler, but the challenges still continue. And one of the major challenges that the industry is facing is that of shrinking margins. जी हाँ दोस्तों, काम तो बहुत है लेकिन प्रॉफिट्स कम होते जा रहे हैं। आज हम बात करेंगे एक ऐसे थर्ड जनरेशन ट्रांसपोर्टर से जिसके दादाजी ने ये बिजनेस शुरू किया, इनके पिताजी ने बिजनेस को और आगे बढ़ाया और इन्होंने बिजनेस को एक अलग ही ऊंचाई तक पहुंचाया है, लेकिन बहुत नाप तोल के। इनकी कंपनी कई बिजनेस वर्टिकल्स में है, राइट फ्रॉम पार्सल ट्रक लोड्स टू ओडीसी एंड ऑल्सो कोल्ड चेन। हिज कंपनी इज इनटू वेरियस वर्टिकल्स ऑफ रोड ट्रांसपोर्ट बिजनेस, राइट फ्रॉम पार्सल ट्रक लोड to cold chain and once upon a time in ODC as well. A graduate from one of Mumbai's premier universities, this youngster found it very easy to get business because of his personality and English speaking skills. Friends, Trans India will be talking today to Mr. Ashwin Agarwal from Safe and Secure Logistics, a company which was previously known as Haryana Freight Carriers. Driven by passion and determination, the company took giant steps to provide safe and secure transportation under the dynamic leadership of Ashwin. We will dwell into the journey of safe and secure along with Ashwin Agarwal and also talk to Seema Vaidya, who is the COO of parcel truckload business in Safe and Secure. But before that, let's take a look at how the commercial vehicle manufacturers performed in October and also during the 42-day festive period. Federation of Automobile Dealers Association, or FADA as it is known, released the retail sales data of manufacturers. Let's take a look. On a year-on-year basis, all segments in the automobile industry recorded an impressive growth. Collectively, the auto industry recorded a growth of 48% over October last year. The commercial vehicle industry grew by 25%, though in the 42-day festive period window, commercial vehicle sales recorded a growth of almost 30%. Breaking down the commercial vehicle sales further based on different segments, LCV sales in October 2022 stood at 44,896 vehicles, 22.74% higher than last year. The MCV segment, however, recorded a marginal growth of 4.41%, recording sales of 4,475 vehicles. The so-called barometer of economic growth, the HCV segment, recorded a healthy growth of 38%, selling 22,858 vehicles in October 2022. Total commercial vehicle sales in October 22 stood at 74,443 vehicles, a growth of 25.40%. Needless to say, all the commercial manufacturers recorded a healthy growth in October 2022. Tata Motors sold 27,467 vehicles across all categories of commercial vehicles. Mahindra&Mahindra, on the other hand, sold 20,083 vehicles and Ashok Leyland sold 12,077 vehicles. VE Commercial Vehicles sold 4,937 vehicles in October 2022. Friends, there is already a buzz in the market that commercial vehicle sales will soon be touching the 1 million mark in a financial year. The last time that the industry achieved this figure was in 2019. There are already reports floating in the marketplace which say that by financial year 2024, commercial vehicle sales would touch the magical 1 million mark. Given the growth across all segments, this does not seem to be an impossible task to achieve. While transporters may be struggling with margins, there is enough goods to be carried across the country which suggests that commercial vehicle sales would be rising in the near future. Also, with the government focusing strongly on infrastructure development, there is a very high chance that by financial year 2024, commercial vehicle sales will indeed touch the 1 million mark. Let's keep our fingers crossed and hope that along with commercial vehicle sales growing, the transporters' margins also see a similar growth. In fact, in his interview, Ashwin Agarwal also hints that he may add a few hundred vehicles in the coming years to further augment his cold chain business. So friends, coming after this very short break, part 1 of our interview with Ashwin Agarwal, the third generation transporter from Safe and Secure Logistics Private Limited. See you on the other side of this very short break. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका ब्लेजो एक्स सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, वरना कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस।
सॉरी अजय, महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो है। एक्शन।
महिंद्रा गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका फ्यूरियो सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, नहीं तो
एक्चुअली जयो, महिंद्रा जयो है, थोड़ा चेंज है। एंड एक्शन।
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका जियो सबसे चल क्या रहा है यहाँ पे?
मैम, ये चारों ट्रक ज्यादा माइलेज देते हैं, चारों।
तो ऐसा बोलो ना, ब्लेजो एक्स, फ्यूरियो, फ्यूरियो 7 और जयो। महिंद्रा के ये सभी ट्रक्स देते हैं सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज की गारंटी, नहीं तो कर दीजिए इन्हें वापस। महिंद्रा, देश की सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देने वाली ट्रक रेंज।
Welcome back friends to Trans India, real people, real emotions. We are in conversation today with Ashwin Agarwal from Safe and Secure Logistics Private Limited. So Ashwin, to start off, tell us a little bit about Safe and Secure Logistics and what kind of transformations it has gone through over the years.
See, this company was started by my grandfather in the year 1951. So now almost when the TCI had started, and he had started from Kolkata. So from Haryana, he had come down to Kolkata, and from there they started this transport company. And I think the first business what they had was from Hindustan Lever and Hindustan Copper. So they started for Jamshedpur. Then my father's grandfather had 6 brothers. So they all were initially into transport. Then we company got separated one by one. So each brother was handling one zone. I entered in the year 1989. And when I entered in the year 1989, after my education, I realized that business had got too much of flaws. Flaws in the way profit margins were superb in those days, superb profit margins. But accounting was not something which you could really manage. And every journey which I realized was there were too many frauds in the branches, because it was a whole cash transaction and the branch manager had huge access to huge amount of cash. With the result, the theft used to be there and the growth was delayed. So in the year 89, so when I realized, when I was approaching the client for work and all, so then they started mentioning me, बोला बॉस ये तो ट्रांसपोर्ट कंपनी है, ये तो ब्रोकर लगता है, ये तो ट्रक लगता है, तो हम इसको बिजनेस वगैरह नहीं दे सकते. तो उसके बाद हमने काफ़ी रिसर्च किया. रिसर्च करने के बाद फिर हमने 95 या 96 में रफली we incorporated the name Safe and Secure Logistics Private Limited. After that, we started getting inquiries for big companies, big contracts, 3PLs, warehousing contracts, import logistics contracts. So that is the journey. It's almost a 70-year-old company, which I hope should run further 70 years.
In fact, Ashwin, talking of rebranding, there was a time in the transport industry where many companies were simply renaming themselves to be logistics companies, probably even without knowing what the word logistics meant. But when you joined the business, what were the key pain points that you felt were there in the industry?
Yeah, because when I joined this company, they were managing the cash system of accounting. So with the cash system of accounting, I never used to come to know only what is my receivable and what is my payable, which somehow was not, in my mind. Secondly, when I came, I wanted that I should get information. So I think our company was maybe one of the first one, in the year 92, when the computer was there, we had taken computers and we had taken softwares to digitize the company from that era itself, so that we can make the company bigger.
Ashwin, I'm always compelled to ask this question to youngsters who have joined the family business now or maybe back in time. Was road transport business your first choice of work, or it was a compulsion that it's a family business so you have to be a part of it?
No, there was no choice given to me. I was forced to join. I was not even asked to go abroad, because when I was going abroad to study further, my father said he has no access to any money, he cannot give any money, and I had to work. So I had to start working in Masjid Bandar to start my career with making LR, putting the marka, and going for loading in your Nhava Sheva port and Bombay Port Trust. This is how I started.
Did you ever get a thought that, what am I doing here? Where am I stuck? Especially, a well-educated South Mumbai guy.
नहीं, thought हमेशा ही था कि कहाँ फंस गया यार ये.
आज भी है?
नहीं, अब तो नहीं है. Thought क्यों था? Because हम पढ़े लिखे थे उस समय. तो पढ़ने लिखने के बाद इंग्लिश स्पीकिंग था, तो बहुत रिस्पेक्ट मिलता था. किसी भी क्लाइंट के पास जाता था, तो when I used to talk in English, they used to really appreciate, oh, young guy has come, let's give him some work. So luckily in those days, I got the work because I was only speaking English, to be very honest with you. And then I realized is that this business is an evergreen business. So every time you get orders, it was me who used to say no for order कि हम ट्रक सप्लाई नहीं कर सकता है, because हमारे पास फाइनेंस नहीं है, या हमारे पास जो आपका मैनेजमेंट स्किल नहीं है, लेकिन बिजनेस की कभी कमी नहीं थी, बिजनेस हमेशा ही था इस कंपनी में।
How old were you when you joined the business?
15 and a half. Yeah. So after giving my 10th standard exam on the 14th of March 1989, 15th of March 1989, I was asked to come to office and to handle the work.
So did you complete your graduation after that?
Yeah, so apart from I was very good at education, actually very good at studies rather. So I did my studies along with my transport company working. So I used to go to college in the morning in HR college, and then I used to come to office at 9 o'clock. So along with my graduation, I also did 2 years of my CA internship, which I was getting paid around 700-800 rupees a month. And I was making every day not less than lakh rupees in those days. So that was the margin which was there. Almost 25 to 30% margin was there in 89, 90, 91. That was the margin. So finally I thought, this CA is not meant for me. It's too much of work, too much of pressure. I think I can make more money in my transport company. And I quit that CA, which I think I did a mistake. I could have completed. एक ही साल तो और पढ़ना था यार.
Ashwin, what was the industry like back then, when you joined in terms of operations, etc.?
See, in those days, it was pure loyalty. People needed work and staff needed work. And I think staff did all the work in those days, basically. And only thing is that you used to not come to know whether the money has come in or not till almost 30 to 60 days, because the cash report used to come in 30 days, 60 days, and they used to have access to huge amount of cash. So, but the work and the margins were so high in those days कि कोई चोरी भी कर लिया तो भी कोई फर्क नहीं पड़ता था, इतना high margin था.
So apart from the accounting challenges that you spoke of, what were the other challenges, in terms of operations that you faced?
See, operating challenge तो आपको पता ही नहीं लगता था, बिकॉज वो ब्रांच वाला अपने आप ही गाड़ी लगा देता था. ठीक है, हम लोग को तो खाली यहाँ से पैसा डिमांड ड्राफ्ट से या टीटी से या अंगड़िया से ट्रांसफ़र करना पड़ता था, और 30-60 डेज़ के बाद वो कैश रिपोर्ट को चेक करना पड़ता था कि ऑल एडवांस आर पेड करेक्ट और बैलेंस हायर आर पेड करेक्ट. ठीक है, एंड वर्क इन दोज डेज, इफ यू टॉकिंग अबाउट 89, 90, 91, 92 till 95, I believe, was very easy. You go to company, you approach them, you will get work. So that is what my observation was.
What was your business structure like when you joined?
So in the year when I had joined, in the year 1989, so we were doing part truck load for Bihar, Jharkhand and little bit of Bengal. It was a virtual monopoly work in those days also when I was there. तो it was like कि 100 ठेला गाड़ी या टेम्पो लगा हुआ है आपको गोडाउन पे माल बुक करने के लिए बॉम्बे, अंधेरी, भिवंडी में, लेकिन हमारा वो बिल्टी बनाने वाला भी थक जाता था और वो माल रिटर्न कर देता था. तो ये सिचुएशन थी उस समय हमारे पास, तो कंपटीशन नहीं था. When I had joined, my father was specializing into ODCs. Okay. Yeah, so he was working with Mukund Engineering, Garlic Engineering, WMI Cranes, and couple of Bacau Wolf, and couple of companies where Larsen and Toubro, Hindustan Door Lever. So my dad was doing big amount of ODC. So he used to never look after any part truck load or any other operation. He used to look after only more or less of your little bit of FTL and more into ODCs.
So Ashwin, once you were into the business full time, what changes did you bring about in the system?
I realized in the PTL was too tough, that Bihar and Jharkhand area. So I shut down from 80 delivery branches to only 5 delivery branches. Yeah, because I really thought that these are all not a place to work. These are all areas of dawn basically. सब गुंडे लोग हैं वहाँ पे, और वो WGR का बहुत मैटर था उस समय. कोई भी कपड़ा बुक होता था तो हमारे ब्रांच वाले पैसा खा के उनसे जो है ना माल डिलीवरी कर देते थे बिना बिल्टी कलेक्ट किए, जो आपको पता लगता था जब आपके नाम पे वारंट निकलता था. तो 3-4 बार मेरे को पुलिस उठा के ले गई गामदेवी पुलिस स्टेशन, पायधोनी पुलिस स्टेशन पे. तो मैंने बोला भैया मेरे को ये काम नहीं करना है. तो फिर मैंने जाके सारी डिलीवरी ब्रांच बंद करी और 2-3 अच्छे ऑडिटर रखे जिसको हम चेक करते रहते हैं ताकि हमको कोई भी माल बिना WGR का ना किसी को डिलीवरी हो.
So currently, what regions are you operating in for parcel load business?
Currently in PTL, we are doing 3 states, Uttarakhand, UP and Jharkhand. And our booking point is Western Zone, right from Gujarat to entire Maharashtra. Northern Zone, NCR, that is Faridabad, Gurgaon, Ghaziabad, Ludhiana, entire Punjab, to these places, and south to these places. So currently we are doing around 60 crore of turnover of PTL.
Any transformations that you have brought in the business, Ashwin?
The transformation is that, so we are currently doing door to door, and all our old warehousing has been changed into dock warehouse. A 5 feet warehouse has been there. So we've got pallet support system, we've got pallet for loading. So everything has become easier now. So it is not depending on human being, it's more of mechanized currently. At unloading point also we have got similar. So in delivery point also we put warehousing with pallet support system. Yeah.
Ashwin, what about the growth rate, given the various economic changes that have been happening around us?
See, now again, I joined in 89. And I think that time the turnover should be, after the split with my father's brothers and all, should be around 20-25 crore rupees. Okay. So currently our group turnover is 300 crore rupees. So that is the growth which has been there. Currently we have around 250 vehicles.
Friends, Ashwin is a very bold and a candid transporter who doesn't hesitate to admit that he has made mistakes. But at the same time, he has learned from all those mistakes. He's also one of those transporters who takes very calculated steps. Since the last couple of years, Ashwin has been downsizing his fleet, and for a reason. We will talk more about this decision and how that has impacted the company. Coming up after this very short break, more insights into safe and secure logistics and the journey of Ashwin Agarwal. Stay tuned. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions.
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका ब्लेजो एक्स सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, वरना कर दीजिए ट्रक वापस।
सॉरी अजय, महिंद्रा फ्यूरियो है। एक्शन।
महिंद्रा गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका फ्यूरियो सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देता है, नहीं तो
एक्चुअली जयो, महिंद्रा जयो है, थोड़ा चेंज है। एंड एक्शन।
महिंद्रा ये गारंटी देते हैं कि उनका जियो सबसे। चल क्या रहा है यहाँ पे?
मैम, ये चारों ट्रक ज्यादा माइलेज देते हैं, चारों।
तो ऐसा बोलो ना, ब्लेजो एक्स, फ्यूरियो, फ्यूरियो 7 और जयो। महिंद्रा के ये सभी ट्रक्स देते हैं सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज की गारंटी, नहीं तो कर दीजिए इन्हें वापस। महिंद्रा, देश की सबसे ज्यादा माइलेज देने वाली ट्रक रेंज।
Welcome back, friends. You are watching Trans India, real people, real emotions, and we are in conversation today with Ashwin Agarwal from Safe and Secure Logistics. Ashwin, I believe you have downsized your fleet in the last couple of years. What was the thought process behind this decision? And also, if I'm not mistaken, you are amongst the first few transporters to have gone in for containerized trucks. Take us through that journey.
See, the reason for downsizing the fleet was, when I came in this company, we didn't have a single truck. We started purchasing with ODC trucks, especially from that. And then for a part truck load, we had this Punjab Dala bodies. Then we migrated to that. And so I think we were one of the first transporters in the year 92 to incorporate your container trucks. And that time my first contract was with Bharat Petroleum, your Bharat Shell, your Cadbury India, your Imami India. So because that is how the name came into my mind, Safe and Secure. The reason was that शुरू में जब मैं आया तो जो भी हम माल गुवाहाटी भेजा, कैलकाटा भेजा, पटना भेजा, वो सारा माल डैमेज हो जाता था। तो क्लाइंट के पास गालियाँ ही पड़ती थी कि तुमने मेरा माल डैमेज कर दिया, तुमने मेरा माल तोड़ दिया। और हम बहुत कोशिश हमने करी लेकिन हम कुछ कर नहीं पाए। तो उस समय जब 92 में जब वो कंटेनर 92 में जब कंप्यूटर आया था और इंटरनेट आया था, जो डायल अप करके हमको करना पड़ता था, तो उस समय हमने सर्च किया इंटरनेट में, तो उस समय कंटेनर ट्रकों की फ़ोटो दिखी थी। तो उसमें मेरे को लगा कि हम ये कर सकते हैं इसको। तो फिर ये मैंने डिस्कस किया मेरे क्लाइंट से, कैडबरी से और भारत शेल से। In fact, Bharat Shell paid me in those days around 80 to 90 rupees a kilometer. That was the rate which was paid to me, saying तू खाली container लगाओ, तुमको rate की चिंता मत करो, I will pay you and you make the vehicles. Yeah, so that's what I said, the rates were brilliant in those days. So we made the 1 container, 2 container, 5 container. लेकिन उस समय क्या था, इतना कंटेनर का आइडिया था नहीं दोस्त. तो हमने क्या किया, वो 20 फुटा जो है एक्सपोर्ट इम्पोर्ट कंटेनर होता था, वो ख़रीदा और ख़रीद के ट्रक में लोड कर दिया पूरा इसको. उसके बाद आई थिंक वो 4 महीने में 3 महीने में वो कंटेनर गाड़ी ड्राइवर ने ब्रेक मारा ड्रम्स के साथ और उसने चेसिस तोड़ दिया. तो कम से कम 3 से 4 गाड़ी का चेसिस टूट गया. तो वो थोड़ा सा डैम्पनिंग किया, कंपनी में काफ़ी इशू हुआ कि तुमने क्या काम कर लिया, ये कंटेनर गाड़ी क्या बना दिया, इन सबको निकालो. तो हमने बहुत रिसर्च किया. बहुत रिसर्च करने के बाद फिर हमने उस समय बामल लॉरी को कॉन्ट्रैक्ट दिया. सो बामल लॉरी मेड कंटेनर्स फॉर अस which were reasonably very good and lighter than the export import. Also they had this specialized mechanic, to load the container in a chassis attached to in such a manner where the toppling doesn't happen. But that took around 4-5 years to do that R&D. But then the container trucks were running, so we became a contractor with Indian Oil, Bharat Petroleum and Castrol and I think Lubrizol. So I think all the oil companies, we were giving them your container trucks, and they were the one who taught me about health and safety. So we incorporated all the safety norms from these companies.
And the goods were safe and secure.
Goods were safe and secure. So and that is how the name came in, because if I had to get business, I had to put in a name which my client likes. If my client doesn't like the name and doesn't like a person who speaks English and does a good presentation, you will never get work. So luckily, being educated in Bombay, naming as safe and secure and container trucks, we could manage all those things.
So I think you managed to tick all the boxes right.
Yes, I think so. Maybe the God was kind to me and that is how it happened. And later from that, I think the luck favored me further, I would say. How it favored me, that time your cold chain was coming up in India. So people were discussing, I used to work for my pharma companies for part truckload. So they used to ask me, can you take this business along in a part truckload? Can you take this material in a cold temperature? Cadbury, Nestle, Britannia, where we were doing dry trucks with them, they were experimenting in those days to come with insulated trucks and reefer trucks. So I think in the year, again I would say 92, 93. 92 we gave insulated trucks to Cadbury without refrigeration. So I think me, Sheetal Parivahan, or it was earlier known as Dairy Cad Movers. तो उसका नाम ही था. So when Cadbury was offering, जब ये शीतल परिवहन कर सकता है तो आप भी इंसुलेटर का काम तो कर ही सकता है. जब कंटेनर ट्रक दिया है गुवाहाटी का तो ये भी दे दो. So that time again Bamal Lorry helped us out. So they gave us insulated containers, and then we gave around 5 to 7 vehicles to Cadbury India. Okay. Yeah, and with that the rates were superb in those days. We purchased around, in the next 10 to 12 years, 400 refrigerated trucks. Yeah, and superb rates, superb work. So we were one of the largest transporter in cold chain in those days.
But Ashwin, not many people in the industry know you or probably Safe and Secure Logistics as a very prominent cold chain player.
But never I have ever advertised that we are cold chain transporters. Never have I told anybody that we were into refrigeration movement. I knew that somewhere ever I opened my mouth, the rates from 70 to 80 rupees will come down to 30 rupees. Hence I just did my work decently. I paid off all my EMIs, got my vehicle free, and work went on smoothly.
Later on you shut down the ODC business. Why was that?
In the year, I think, so if I remember right, somewhere around 97 or 98, the whole economy, world economy had fallen, right. Whichever year it was. So that time, we did not get payments with any of the engineering goods. ODCs and stuff and all. So my money was stuck. I had no finance to pay advances, to balance hire to my truck drivers, all the vehicle coming to your office, shouting and all. So that was the time I closed down my ODC division completely, because I was not getting money from my engineering companies. So I preferred working with the consumer companies. So how this consumer company, and
Ashwin, we also believe that you were offered private equity funding quite some time back and you refused. Why was that?
so that was the time I was getting private equity, and they had offered me around 51 crore rupees for I think 50% for 51%, and they wanted my around this 400 trucks to become 2000 trucks. So that was an opportunity given to me, but somehow my mind said, Ashwin, that firstly you cannot manage 2000 trucks, and secondly India doesn't have the market for 2000 trucks. So they are saying that all fruits, vegetable, Coke, Pepsi, everything will be moved in a controlled temperature. So, but I thought it will be delayed because India doesn't have that infrastructure. I did not take that private equity. So my competitor who was working in these clients, they took the private equity. So they moved from, I think, 100 to 200 vehicles to around 800, 900 vehicles of refrigeration. Now to move that and to get that business, the rates from 70 to 80 came down to 32 rupees. So which that my entire reefer business came into losses.
So Ashwin, looking back, do you regret that decision of not accepting the funding?
So it was a kind of a threatening to me also, that if you don't take it, we'll give it to your competitor. Okay. I really did not think that कोई 50 करोड़ रुपए में कोई बहुत ज़्यादा फ़र्क पड़ने वाला है, and I didn't need that money because we had surplus money, we had made enough money, all our EMIs were paid, so we really didn't think that 50 crore is going to make such a big difference. But yes, in the year 2022, for me to grow further, I would require either a JV or some funding to grow further, not because I need that money, but because if you do not take that money and become a large company of a 4PL, I think your survival will be difficult. That is what my thought is.
So currently, are you scouting for a JV partner or some kind of funding?
Okay, not in the year 2022, but maybe in the year 2023 and 24. We will be doing, because our next very big growth should come in 4PL.
Ashwin, how much has IT helped your business, and what about demonetization? How did that affect your business?
Super, brilliant. If demonetization would not have happened, I would have not been able to pay advances directly to the vehicle owners and my truck drivers. So because of demonetization today, all our advances across India are centrally managed, and it goes directly to the vehicle owners or the brokers account directly, the lorry hire advance, the lorry hire balance payment, the loading charges and unloading charges. So there is no cash involved anywhere in India. So that demonetization is a boon for us. We could implement the FASTag, which we could not earlier. So now all tolls are paid by the UPI payments, with ICICI or one of the IDBI or one of them. BPCL fuel card. So across India we could manage the BPCL fuel card. So absolutely, I would say this was the biggest growth in our organization because of your demonetization and IT implementation. I think that is something which the younger generation currently should also learn. So when the GST was implemented, so everybody was scared, क्या होगा, क्या नहीं होगा, क्या होगा. So we, along with good friends in the transport fraternity, we discussed the whole idea of GST, and then we incorporated with a company called Iris. They were the one who had approached us that boss, हमको ये GST में काम करना है. So how this helped us, I'll tell you. Now all the e-way bill for safe and secure is assigned to us. Okay. Now we come to know कि these are the e-way assigned, mean these are the loads which is available. We make CN from the e-way bill. We don't make CN directly. No handmade CN. The reason is that if the CN is made from the e-way bill, so 100% of your e-way bill is mapped. So we saved huge amount of theft. Because earlier, when people used to make CN, there was no proof कि ये CN genuine है कि fake है. So we had every year around, I would say 1 to 5 lakh rupees का theft होता था. मैनेजर फॉल्स CN बना देता था, उसका पैसा फॉलो अप करते रहते थे, पैसा मिलता नहीं था, बाद में मैनेजर रिज़ाइन करके भाग जाता था. So this, luckily, if my friends are listening, I would say please incorporate it, that from e-way bill, make your CN, so you know exactly that what is your billing every day. You know that there cannot be theft, because without e-way bill, he cannot make a CN only. So there is no false CN made. So that is one part which I would advise everybody all across transporter to make CN from e-way bill. So that is one part which really helped us grow in IT. Second, which really made us grow, was the UPI payment. So in UPI payment, in the part truck load, so now we do not take cash payment at booking point and delivery point. So they have to pay either by Google Pay or Bheem or by Paytm to our company, so that there is no cash taken. So if there is no cash taken at booking and delivery point, the chances of theft are not there. So this further pushed the company to save money on accounts part, and the theft is reduced.
Oh, wonderful. And so what about the infrastructure development? How much has that also helped your company?
Infra of what? Infra by the government or infra by your own company?
Ashwin, do you think infrastructure has made a significant change to not only your business but to the industry on the whole? What are your thoughts on that?
Okay, so now because of your highways getting better, with highways getting better, when you used to do 300 kilometers a day, I think you can do 400 to 500 kilometers in a day.
So are you getting these numbers currently?
Yes, we are getting those numbers. We are I would say overall the entire trucking of my earlier, which was 4,000 to 5,000 kilometer in a month, so we have moved to around 6,000 kilometer a month currently today, and we could have moved to 8,000 kilometer also. We are not being able to do so because of the warehousing issue, the loading, unloading, detention at the point of the warehouse where the seasonal fluctuation happens. So that time detention takes place. And also getting the return loads. So return loads is still delayed in India, which can make a vehicle idle from 12 hours to almost 108 hours. So yeah.
Friends, for years now, the government as well as the manufacturers have been trying to push AC trucks into the industry. Some time back, the government also made a decision to make it mandatory to have AC cabins in all trucks. While the government withdrew the decision earlier, we now believe that the Union Transport Minister, Mr. Nitin Gadkari, is planning to get back that decision and make it mandatory for all trucks to have AC cabins. However, Ashwin introduced AC cabins in some of his trucks but did not find the productivity very significant. We will continue our interaction with Ashwin next week and know more about his experience with AC cabin trucks. At the same time, we will also be talking to the COO of Safe and Secure Logistics part truckload business, Seema Vaidya. Stay tuned for more news and exclusive interviews. You are watching Trans India, Real People, Real Emotions. Please do subscribe to our channel, and until next week, stay safe. Jai Hind.
Good morning